What's up, YouTube? I am so excited to be back and to be here with my little baby Clara. She came a little bit early. She was due February 22nd and she decided to come on the 13th. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit today about ketogenic diet and postpartum. So should you be eating keto when you're healing, as your milk is being established, if you're breastfeeding, how to do that, as well as at the end of this, I'm going to talk a little bit about my own birthing story and my own results since I had her compared to my last two, because this time around I was following the ketogenic diet for a couple years after my other two kids were born, and so when I got pregnant for her, I had been fully fat adapted, ketogenic, and I was kind of keto-ish throughout my pregnancy. I wasn't keto fully all the way, but I did the best I could, and so I'll go into that a little bit towards the end of this video, as well as talk about my incredible results already. I'm just over 2 weeks postpartum, and you're going to be just blown away when you hear how much I've lost compared to my last two pregnancies. So we're going to get into that. But first, let's talk about postpartum, keto, breastfeeding. Should you be following keto? Should you jump right back in after having a baby? And so what I'm going to tell you guys is this. What you want to do is, for one, take care of yourself. Take care of your baby, take care of your milk. All of these things are more important in this first 6 weeks after you have your baby than it is to focus on losing weight and all of that. This is what you want to do. Right after you have your baby, even if you have been strict keto throughout your pregnancy, that is really, really difficult for a lot of moms. I know personally it was hard for me to do keto strictly throughout my pregnancy. So what I did was I was keto as much as I could be. I didn't put too much pressure on myself. I knew that after she was born, I would lose the baby weight and all of that, and I would focus on my goals when I could. So when I had her, and going through the first few weeks, I just want to let you guys know the first 6 weeks you really should not be strict keto. This is just based on information that I have gotten from the books that I've read, and specifically this one book, Real Food for Pregnancy. They go into the whole 4th trimester and what you should do in as far as the ketogenic diet. And while your milk is being established and while you are breastfeeding, it's really important that you don't push yourself too hard with the ketogenic diet. Now, that being said, if it feels good to you and after a couple weeks you feel good eating ketogenic types of foods, what you can do is you can have a carb up at night, so you can eat strict keto during the day as long as you don't notice any changes to your milk, and then at night you can have maybe a sweet potato with your dinner, half a sweet potato, some rice, something like that, some carbs in there that will push your carb limit up a little bit, up a notch. This is what many moms do who are breastfeeding that are following the ketogenic diet, because what you are doing is you are staying low enough net carbs that your body is burning fat for fuel, but you're getting enough carbs for your milk. So that's one thing that you can do. The next thing I want to talk about is intermittent fasting. Should you be intermittent fasting right after you had a baby? The answer to that is no, you really shouldn't. You need to be getting enough nutrition for your milk. And so what is recommended is that you wait on intermittent fasting until your milk is established enough and that you follow your body's lead. So one of the recommendations or suggestions that I have as far as intermittent fasting goes, what I have been doing that has been extremely successful for me and I absolutely love it, I have been having in the morning either decaf coffee or regular coffee. It depends on me, the day, and it really depends if you want to have caffeine with your milk. For me, it's fine to have a cup of coffee, so I'll have a regular cup of coffee and I mix in their keto cream. Keto cream is a product that has collagen, MCT oils, really high B vitamins, and it's a ketogenic product, so it's made specifically for burning fat for fuel and that sort of thing. Now what you do is you take keto cream, you shake it up with some hot coffee and some half and half. It tastes like a vanilla latte. It's super creamy. It's really comforting, especially postpartum. It's amazing. And what I have found is when I drink keto cream, my milk that I produce when I pump is just like on another level. It's almost double what it is normally when I have just a regular meal. Even a carb heavy meal, it doesn't really matter throughout the day. The keto cream pump seems to produce a really high amount of milk. And so that's something to think about. And also I like it because it's a way for me to kind of get all of the benefits of intermittent fasting without limiting the calories, because you get those benefits even though you're not technically doing a strict fast and that sort of thing. Eventually, you'll want to just push the keto cream back to when you would have your first meal, when you're ready to get back into regular intermittent fasting. Okay, so let's get into my story and what happened with the birth of this little one here. So I was planning on going on this trip at 37 weeks to Phoenix, and I live in Florida. And this trip, it's an event for Pruvit. It's their yearly awards, and I actually lead a huge team of promoters, and I really wanted to go to celebrate their success over the year and to just be there with them as they get their awards and all of these things. So I was going to fly out my 37th week, and my other two kids came late. Well, Emma was a C-section, like this one was a scheduled C-section at 39 weeks, but my first son, he came at 41 weeks. So I was thinking, there's no way this baby's coming early. It will be fine. I was going to be a little rebel and just take this trip. It was only going to be a couple days and I would be home. And then my C-section was scheduled for 39 weeks and all would be well. Well, the day before I was to fly out, for one, my husband was in New York for a business trip, and there was a horrible snowstorm. He got laid over, stuck there, and that night my water broke. So I'm home, I'm by myself, my water broke, and I wasn't sure if my water actually broke because I was sleeping. So I was like, I think my water broke, but I'm not sure if it broke. I don't know, it was kind of a weird, like, I think this just happened, but I'm not sure. And so I basically got up at 4 a.m. assuming that my water just broke, and I got everything ready, packed up for the hospital. My husband was still in New York, and he was going to be home by 2 in the afternoon that day. And so my son had a performance at school for Valentine's Day, so I went to that. I was still not sure if I would be taking my trip or not. I'm like, okay, I'm going to call the doctor, get checked out to see if my water broke. If it didn't break, I'm going to be taking this trip still. So I need to get my nails done. So I literally went, I got my nails done. I, did everything that I needed to do, assuming I was still going on this trip. And then my mom, who was going to be watching my older kids, came over, drove in that afternoon, and I told her, I think my water may have just broke. And she's like, okay, let's get over to the doctor's and find out. So we went to the doctor, and turns out my water did break. And so we were, my husband was literally just getting into town, and I'm like, okay, we're having a baby tonight, 7 p.m. that night. My C-section was scheduled, and I had my C-section. Everything went really well. She was born 7 pounds, 1 ounce, and perfectly healthy, happy, and everything was a typical normal C-section. Breastfeeding started off really well. And so, she was here, and we spent a couple days in the hospital. Everything went normal. I came home, got on the scale, and found that I only lost 5 pounds. She weighed 7 pounds, and I know there was a lot of fluid, so I'm like, how is it possible that I only lost 5 pounds? But once again, I wasn't really worried about it. I knew I had a lot of bloating and stuff from the surgery, like in my feet. I didn't have any bloating my entire pregnancy, but right after surgery, my bloating was really bad. And so with my past 2 children, after both of them, it took me 5 months to lose the first 30 pounds. I was breastfeeding both of them. I stopped breastfeeding them at the 5-month mark just they naturally kind of weaned themselves. So it was the first 5 months I lost 30 pounds, stopped breastfeeding, and then to the 8-month mark is when I had lost 75 pounds after the second kid, right? So the majority of the weight came after I stopped breastfeeding towards the end. Now this time around, and this is what is just blowing my mind, is that, so I was keto for years before I got pregnant with Clara, and fully fat adapted. So I had stuck to the lifestyle fully, and I was doing intermittent fasting for probably a year and a half of that time. And so when I got pregnant, I wasn't fully keto throughout the whole pregnancy. I was partially keto. I was keto when I could be. And I had, a lot of morning sickness, which is normal for me from all of my pregnancies. And so I ended up gaining the same amount of weight as I did with my previous 2 pregnancies this time around. But then right now we are like 2.5 weeks postpartum, and I've already lost 30 pounds. So think about that. My previous pregnancies, it took me 5 months to lose the first 30 pounds. This time around, being that I had been fat adapted, I had been intermittent fasting before I got pregnant, and then I was partially keto throughout my pregnancy. I have been drinking exogenous ketones throughout my pregnancy, not every day, but every once in a while. And I felt, I feel like I am rebounding really, really quickly this time around. I'm not eating strict keto yet. I'm, only 2.5 weeks postpartum. So I'm eating whatever I want as I'm just kind of following my body's lead. As I'm hungry, I'm eating. I'm having some ketogenic meals here or there. And I'm doing the keto cream thing in the morning. And I'm doing ketones, the nat ketones, as I feel like I want an extra boost of energy. And just, I'm just kind of doing it as I feel good. My milk came in great. Everything is going amazing. I plan to go back to strict keto after about like the 6-week mark, probably with a carb up for my milk, but potentially not. It just depends on me and my body, and that's really what I share with everyone, is just to follow your body's lead. If you need more carbs, you have more carbs. If you're good on less carbs, then stick with that. Really whatever works best for you. So as of right now, I am 20 pounds away from where I was before I got pregnant, and then I am about 35 pounds away from my ultimate goal. And so I'm going to be sharing my whole journey on Instagram. If you follow me, I'll put the information right down here on my Instagram name. So you're going to see tons of pictures of Clara, of course, and then you're also going to get some ideas on ketogenic meal planning, different foods to eat, and you're going to follow me as I lose the rest of the baby weight, how I do it, how I incorporate keto, as well as the fitness journey that goes along with this, because it's really important to get in some daily fitness and exercise, which is going to come after my 6-week mark once I get cleared by the doctor. I had the C-section. So I hope this video helps you if you just had a baby, if you're planning on having a baby, if you're not sure if you should be going back to keto right away or if you should wait a little while. For sure, be sure to follow your body's lead. Stay educated. I suggest you read the book, Real Food for Pregnancy. I'll put the link in the description. And thanks guys for watching this video. If you're new here on this channel, I share tons of tips and tricks for the ketogenic, low carb, high fat lifestyle. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. And thanks guys for watching this one. Take care.